30, I'm 7 and 30, that's 27 and 30, I'm going to give it to 30 pounds, I'm going to give it to 7 and 30.
Now, Chip, you're a consignor here at the yearling sales. What exactly is your role?
Well, I'm the agent for the owners. They call me up 6 or 8 months ahead of time and say I've got a yearling that I think I'm going to try to get in this sale. And then I go look at the horse. I tell them whether I think the horse can make the sale or not and what corrective work they need to do on that animal to try to make him be able to be his best by August.
Now, Michelle, when you come to the sales, what is it you're looking for in a yearling?
I'm the type of person that shops for the athlete. So I really don't look at a page as hard as I look at the horse first. I want to see something that has some presence, a walk, put together in a balanced and acceptable way. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to have all the right parts in the right places.
So if you're not necessarily looking at pedigree, how do you start the process? How do you start narrowing down the horses you want to look at?
Usually you're buying for an owner, you're looking for an owner who has a criterion. You know, they only want colts or they only want fillies or they have a sire that they like. So that in and of itself immediately narrows the list down. If they say, just find me one, then it's a little trickier. You sort of have to send a front crew out for you to give you a short list because it's too time consuming to spend that much time looking at every single horse in the sale. So I rely a little bit on people who I believe in can identify horses that are definitely no's. That's really the easiest part, is saying you do not want to look at these. And then you sort of take the step-by-step approach from that point forward.
We have this sales card. They come up and they check the horses they want to look at, and then we get those out and show them to them. And we have been steadily running since 7:30 this morning. They started showing up wanting to look at horses, and today most of the people want to see everything because they're doing a quick run through. Then tomorrow they'll come back and they will have selected the best horses or the ones that interest them the most. But for today we're doing a lot of what we call all shows, and so our people have been running like crazy this morning. So.
Now, you're at the yearling sales here primarily as a pin hooker. Can you explain to us what that is?
Yes, we're here looking at the available yearlings to see if we can find something that we can take home and work with and present as either a horse ready to run and sell privately, or possibly take to one of the 2-year-old training sales and resell it through that market.
So it's different than a trainer looking at a horse, correct?
Well, there's a perception that it's different, and it really shouldn't be different. Because if we look at it in a correct manner, we being the pin hookers, we need to be buying a racehorse. Because when we're selling, we need to be selling a racehorse. So I'm going to differ with that opinion. People would like to think that it's different, that you're shopping for a horse to pin hook is different than shopping for a racehorse. I think that's dead wrong. We need to focus on racehorses, whether we're pin hooking or whether we're end users.
Can you tell me about the repository and what's the purpose of the repository?
The repository, these horses are x-rayed. Every joint is x-rayed. There are 34 different shots taken of each horse's legs. And that the results of those x-rays with a written report are turned into the repository. I have a copy of the written report. The sales company stamps the report so that when I show the report to somebody, they know it is the same report that was turned into the repository and that it really goes with that horse. It avoids the chance of any skullduggery of somebody substituting a report that sounds really good for a horse that has terrible x-rays.
And do you put any emphasis on the repository, their x-rays, how they scope?
After the fact, yeah. I want to find the horse first. As long as you can find a handful of athletes whose pages aren't disastrous, then you go back and look at vet records, repositories, you ask somebody to scope, you make forays into that field of credentials and make final checklists off of that.
So if there's a horse that you like, how many times will you go back and take a look at that particular horse?
It depends, at least twice, for sure. If there's a horse that I'm convinced that I really want to be interested in. If it's a horse that I think I might like and he's difficult to look at because he's fresh, cheeky, can't concentrate, not tired enough, I'll keep coming back until I get a look that I'm satisfied with.
The horses, it's really the eyes of the beholder. because you'll have 5 really top guys come by and they'll pick 5 different horses in your consignment that they're going to zero in on. And really what makes them bring the big price is having 2 of those people zero in on the same horse. Because if I have a $30,000 reserve and the horse gets to $30,000, if there's not that second person, that's all we're going to get. And if in fact I've got 2 people there, I might get $130,000. So you really just don't know. We've got a couple of real nice ones here. In the past, I have had the sales topper. I'm not sure I actually have the sales topper in this group, but I'm hoping I have a couple that will sell very well.
Tom Gallo, we're here with the newest member of Parting Glass Racing Stable. Can you tell us about hip number 205 and why you liked him?
I just love him. I'm like a kid. When I buy a horse, I'm like a kid on Christmas morning. I just love this horse. He's by Tail of the Cat, the sire of Gio Ponte. He's bred by one of the top breeders in the state, if not the top breeder in the state, Mrs. Nielsen, Sunnyfield Farm, and he's just a gorgeous individual. You know, he's a big, good-looking horse, as you can see. I mean, he's got a beautiful shoulder and nice length to his neck and a beautiful hip, and he's got good, solid bone. You know, you got to have real good bone, and I'm just really happy.
$25,000, Frank. Thank you.
Well, I bought a real nice horse off of Sunnyfield last year, and I know that she just raises a real nice horse. So, you know, in looking, this was one of our stops, and we looked at the whole consignment. I like to buy a horse early in the sale because sometimes people aren't quite settled and stuff like that. So this horse fit the bill, and he's just a gorgeous, you know, really gorgeous animal.
Now, Tom, from here, what's in this horse's future from this point?
He'll ship down to Florida. You know, we put him in a nice box stall. He'll stay here for a couple days, get the sale out of his system a little bit. Francis does a super job taking care of him, you know, either before the sale and even after the sale. So he'll get a couple days rest, and then he'll ship down to Florida in a box stall. He'll get turned out for, you know, 30 to 60 days, get the sale out of his system, and then, you know, we'll start breaking him. He's an early foal. He's got 2-year-old winners in his pedigree, so maybe there's a chance that you know you might see him here next year, which would be cool. But at the same time, we're not pushing him to run as a 2-year-old. But he's got everything he needs maybe to get there. You know.